So trust in the wine industry is a very tricky thing. You want people to try new things, but at the same time, you don't want to take them so far outside their comfort zone that they're wondering what you did to them and where they are. It's basically they're kind of like hitchhikers. You're giving them a ride to hopefully their final destination, which is a wonderful glass of wine. But if you drop them off at a location that they're not familiar with or they didn't want to go to, you've totally missed the target.
Every single cocktail has a different flavor to it and a different flavor profile, right? So once that we get what people like to drink, we suggest and we guide them even in experience new flavors and new spirits.
And oftentimes we're talking about products that you're limited in the amount of space you have on the bottle or the package, and so there's a lot you've got to fit on there. There are ways to get around that via supplemental labeling, like a pullback tab or a hang tag that has some additional information on it. But you really want to be reading these rules very carefully if you're making products that are going to end up in a licensed dispensary, to make sure that you've got all of the information on there that you need. And the state is specific as to, which side of the label you're putting things on and how big the font is. All of that is regulated.
So fundamentally, despite bumps in the road, China's going to be the most important country in the world for imported wine in the next 5, 10, 15 years. At what point? And let's say that the 50 million people who are consuming wine, imported wine on a relatively regular basis, consume a little bit more.
Yep.
Start to do the maths, and this thing is not going to slow down anytime.
At the price points, knowing where people will buy it and maybe not buy it, knowing where the brand shows up, meaning is it showed up at the right restaurant or is it put in places that won't help the brand essence? So it's a whole different mindset of making sure that you manage this at a very delicate level, and you think about the quality of the placements, the price points, the quality of the wine, the quality of the packaging, far more than the volume and the amount of money you make. All of that seems to come if you get all the other things correct.
It is very important to know the Chinese way of consuming wines. Chinese people select wine sometimes not purely by understanding which year, grapes and all that. It's more important to know how good that wine blends directly with Chinese food.
The biggest trend that we are involved in right now is draft cocktails. It is, we are dispensing cocktails off of what's traditionally a beer draft system, but we just have pony kegs, and we, as I said, measuring our recipes by the bottle rather than by the ounce.
Kroger currently has a 28% private brand penetration. It's high. Okay, if you read their annual reports, if you listen to their calls, they talk about private brand consistently. In the last annual report, they mentioned it 37 times. It's important to them. If you don't know that stuff and you're going in to sell to Kroger, you are at a disadvantage.
Lots of things can influence how we taste beer. So if you taste beer in a sunny environment, or when you're happy, when you're around friends, that beer is going to taste much better than if you're just drinking it on your own. And packaging does the same thing. If you have a preconception that that beer is going to taste great because the packaging really, really appeals to you, then of course that beer is going to taste much better. If that packaging is boring and that beer tastes boring, you could probably expect it. It's because that's what you expected it to taste like.